now? Why has it taken so long for an Indian head of government to land in Israel?
It took a while for our relations to go out of the closet, as we say. But for Modi, he came into power 3 years ago, and it took him a while to take the courage to come out and announce Israel and India are strategic partners in business, in defense, in intelligence, and so on. So for India as a whole, of course, it took many years, but for Modi, it took 3 years.
And we're looking now at live images on the screen of Narendra Modi's plane has touched down at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. Now, with this interview, and sorry, we've just lost those visuals. We'll bring them back to our viewers as soon as we can. We know that he's here for 3 days, not visiting the Palestinian Authority, any leaders there. Do you believe that this was on purpose? Is he trying to send a message, or is this just because he's putting his focus here on Israel, this particular visit?
It's okay not to combine. We are friends with India, whether there is a Palestinian issue or not, and that's his statement. He's here to visit Israel, to meet Prime Minister Netanyahu, to learn more about Israeli innovation, to see how we can foster the collaboration, and he's not getting into those Middle East politics.
Right. And we know that we saw President Donald Trump, US President Donald Trump, here in Israel just recently. A similar scene with the red carpet rolled out. However, Benjamin Netanyahu has said that this visit is particularly special. In fact, he's going to be accompanying Narendra Modi across the 3 days. Why such special symbolism for this landing?
Isn't it wonderful? In a sense that for 20 years I'm working in India, and suddenly Israel is starting to notice the importance of India.
And the other way around.
And the other way around. India is the next market for us, okay? We cannot ignore it. We were looking all the time at China, but India is the growing power of Asia. They have access to the Arab market, which they're in good relations as well, and they will become the leader of the new world. And Mr. Netanyahu understands the importance of India for us in politics, but also in business and defense.
And Israel is constantly looking for partners, at least in the United Nations. Is India proving to be an effective partner for Israel in the halls of the United Nations?
So. There were few things that India we were not happy with, but overall the Indian statement are pro-Israel, and this is the statement. Modi coming to Israel for those 48 hours with the leading CEOs of India, with leading public figures is a statement. And of course, Bibi is reciprocating to him with this attention.
But I remember, correct me if I'm mistaken, that Modi, after being voted into power in 2014, abstained from a very important UN vote. Was that at least a vote of confidence in Israel, or was that a shift from its normal?
You know, there are balance of interests, and probably it was difficult for him to vote in favor of us. But again, this is the statement. He's coming here, shows what are his true colors, and the colors are beautiful.
All right, I just want to take our viewers back to those live images as Narendra Modi has landed at Ben Gurion Airport. Our senior international affairs correspondent, Owen Alterman, is there on the ground. Owen, we're seeing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's Prime Minister, making his way to the top of the red carpet. What can you tell us from the ground there?
Well, Tracy, the excitement is built up. The plane is here, as our viewers can see. And the Master of Ceremonies is giving instructions to the honor guard. The Prime Minister of Israel is stepping out to greet the Prime Minister of India. This is a huge moment for Prime Minister Netanyahu. He always likes to argue that Israel has more international relationships than ever before. There are always a lot of doubters, given the boycott and divestment movement in the West, for example. But this is a case where Prime Minister Netanyahu can really point to a real diplomatic advance for Israel, that after 25 years, an Indian Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of one of the world's largest countries, the world's largest democracy, as Prime Minister Netanyahu has reminded us, one of the world's 10 largest economies, one of the fastest growing economies in the world, is coming here to embrace Israel for a friendly visit. His plane is here. We'll see him step down in just a few moments. Tracy, this is a big moment for the state of Israel and also for India.
Now, Owen, you were reporting for us live once US President Donald Trump left Ben Gurion Airport heading away from his Middle East visit. What's the difference in pomp, I suppose, over there for this ceremony, which Israel said was going to be, I suppose, more of a spectacle than it was for Donald Trump when he was here?
Well, again, I was here for when Donald Trump left, and that was a much more modest ceremony at the request of the Trump administration. They wanted something quieter and more modest. The ceremony when Donald Trump landed was much more elaborate, and that seems to be what this ceremony is. It's not expected to be as elaborate as the one to greet Donald Trump, but it is quite elaborate. We have the Army band here, as our viewers can see, in the honor guard, and the red carpet rolled out. We have a podium for Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Netanyahu to speak and to address the crowd. We have dignitaries here. So this is a ceremony befitting how historic this visit is. Again, Tracy, a very, very important moment for Israel's prime minister and for the state of Israel as a whole.
Now, we also know that one of Modi's first stops after this landing ceremony is to Israel's Holocaust Museum, Yad Vashem. What's the significance of that visit?
Well, this is an important part of visits of heads of state and heads of government to Israel. It's almost a required part of our diplomatic protocol in this country. And Prime Minister Modi will visit the Holocaust Memorial. Now, again, as opposed to some European leaders for whom it can be a very emotional visit because of their country's own past, India is a country that was far afield and actually never has any record of anti-Semitism, despite Jews living in the country for thousands of years. But it's always an emotional moment when a foreign leader visits Yad Vashem, visits Israel's Holocaust Center. And no doubt we'll see that in just a few hours' time.
OK, Owen Alterman reporting for us live from Ben Gurion Airport there. We'll keep those images up so our viewers can continue to see this ceremony unfold. With us in studio, Anat Bernstein-Wright, the chairperson for Israel-India Chamber of Commerce, as well as our international affairs correspondent, Bianca Zanini. Anat, first to you, we know that the timing of this visit marks 25 years of diplomatic ties. We also know that they have progressed their relationship from not only diplomatic friends, but also strategic friends. Talk us through the strategy between Israel and India and how they're aligned.
First, in defense, okay? India needs our technology, and we need to sell our technology somewhere. So they have a big border with China, a big border with Pakistan. With Pakistan, they are in, conflict relations with China, cold relations, and they need the protection that our technology can bring them. So from strategy, India needs our technology. From market, we need them. We are only 8 million. We are a neighborhood in Delhi, just to give you the proportion.
Right.
So their market is our future. The middle class of 400 million people is a great market for the Israeli technology, for the Israeli know-how, for the Israeli products. And this is the strategy. The needs of India and the needs of Israel are combined. And I think that this trip shows it.
Has the economic benefit, I suppose, of this relationship between India and Israel, who is it serving more?
It's a tough question to answer. I'll explain. The bilateral trade is about $4.2 billion. And we export more than we import, according to the statistics. But this is not true because services are not counted. Trade in IT or digital trade is not counted because it doesn't go through customs.
Right.
Israeli invest in India via offshore countries. Again, it's not counted in the bilateral trade. So it's very difficult for me to say who wins in this trade game.
It's an interesting partnership, though, Bianca, considering the marked difference in population between and the size of both countries.
Absolutely. What we hear a lot, though, is, for instance, on the agricultural basis, is that we're seeing some changes in climate in India. We're seeing there's lack of water, and here we have in Israel the technology to deal with that, and that's why they want to get the ideas, the entrepreneurship that Israel is so famous for, and take it with them and scale it up, of course. In large, scale it up, of course.
And looking in terms of the needs of both countries, we know we talked about defence being an important factor in their relationship. Israel seems to be gaining a lot, at least recently, under Modi's leadership in terms of the multi-billion-dollar deals, cumulatively, that have been signed under his leadership.
True. To be honest, the defense trade started earlier, okay? I cannot ignore the years before Modi, but definitely in the last 3 years, I wouldn't say that they favor us in the trade or in their market, but still, we see more, so the proof is in the pudding. There is more probably due to Modi.
Okay. I asked this question to our political analyst, Kalev Ben-David, earlier about the fact that many analysts have said that this relationship is friendly on paper, but not much else. What do you say to that? Just as we watch, apparently Narendra Modi is about to walk down the stairs as we speak. We'll have our viewers keep their eye on that screen while you talk us through whether this is, in fact, a friendly relationship more than just on paper.
It's definitely not on paper. How can people say that? In a sense that business is happening. The flight of El Al and other airlines to India are full of business people and not just backpackers, and vice versa. We host a lot of business delegations coming to India, to Israel, I mean. Oh, how nice.
So we have our senior international affairs correspondent, Owen Alterman, on the ground there. Owen, we're hearing that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is making his way down the stairs in a matter of minutes. What can you tell us from the ground there?
Well, Tracy, as you said, the door is opened and the Prime Minister expected to step down those stairs onto the red carpet and begin his 3-day visit here in Israel. Again, highly anticipated, historic, really a special moment for this country. And here he is. Prime Minister of India.
Now we're hearing the sounds of that military honour guard, which is a regular process when a minister or a head of government lands here in Israel. He'll make his way down the stairs there, be meted by that military honour guard, as well as by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
And the ambassador of India next to him.
Absolutely. And they'll make their way down, and then we'll no doubt hear some brief addresses from those leaders. We understand that after this landing ceremony, Modi will head to Yad Vashem, Israel's Holocaust Museum. He has an extraordinarily packed schedule over the next 3 days. Anat, to you, were there any standout, things on his schedule to you? Anything that stood out to your mind that you wouldn't have expected from the Indian Prime Minister during his visit?
I wouldn't say that that there is something which is special that I wouldn't anticipate. When he came to New York, he took Madison Square Garden, and they called it for a day Madison Square Garden.
Right.
And they gathered the entire Indian community in this special hall. So same he is doing tomorrow in the convention center in Tel Aviv, where the entire Indian Jews and Indians that live in Israel will come and gather them for his talk to them. I hope that it will be in English and not in Hindi, but tomorrow we'll know.
We understand that he's also paying a visit to a desalination plant at the Israel Museum. What's the interest there for an Indian Prime Minister?
First, desalination is a must. India suffers from lack of water. I've been last week in Bombay, and it was pouring. It's monsoon season now, but they are not able to collect the water. They are not able to transfer the water. They are not able to treat the water. So the desalination is definitely a good technology that India needs, whether on the sea or from industry. And many Israeli companies like IDE, Tal, and so on are working in India to bring water to the people.
Mm-hmm. How much of a problem, I suppose, is terror for India in terms of, we know that Israel has, Benjamin Netanyahu rather, has drawn parallels between the threat that Hamas poses to Israel and the threats that are posed to India?
The threat to India
there he is, sorry to cut you off on that, just as you started to speak. We're seeing Narendra Modi standing at the top of the stairs, hands together as is customary in Indian culture. Namaste, absolutely, making his way down the stairs. Our senior international affairs correspondent, Owen Alterman, is on the ground. Owen, what can you tell us?
Well, as you said, the Prime Minister stepping off the plane, being greeted by Prime Minister Netanyahu and by other Israeli dignitaries. They are about to speak, as you mentioned. We'll hear the national anthems of the two countries from the Army Band, and then the two leaders will speak from the podium, give their introductory remarks to kick off this visit. Again, a very, very special visit, a historic one, and we'll no doubt hear from the two leaders about how they see this important relationship, which is each is marked really as a priority. Narendra Modi marking this as a priority for India and India's modernization. We just heard from our guest how important water technology is to India. You know, Tracy, a lot of focus here in Israel on the defense relationship with India, which is no doubt important. But for Indians, it's the water and agriculture that is no less important than defense. And for Benjamin Netanyahu, we've talked about how important this is. We're about to hear the national anthems.